The acting Hajj Commissioner for Canada to Nigeria, Kevin Tucker, has appealed to the Nigerian government to create an inclusive atmosphere for persons with disabilities in Nigeria's institution to eliminate hardship brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, especially on the marginalized groups. He gave the charge at a visual conference organized by Cedar Seed Foundation, a network for persons with disabilities. Kevin said considering the nature of vulnerability in Nigerian setting, taking into account policies and programs that will empower the group of persons is key to national development. The topic for the 2021 International Day of Persons with Disabilities is Visual International Disability Dialogue, aimed at bringing in experts across the globe to discuss and chart a way forward towards ending the narrative of the marginalization of persons with disabilities. The dialogue is also aiming at looking at the causes of economic crisis having faced with the recent global pandemic that has proportionately increased an acceptable level of unemployment to 4.6%, while currently 33.3% or 23.2 million of the about 10 million people who should be working in Nigeria are out of work, says statistics. At the event, the Canadian Hajj Commissioner to Nigeria, Kevin Tucker, noted that improving access to education for technical and vocational skills will assist the government in reducing the rates of the labor force, as well as equip citizens towards contributing to the gross domestic product, particularly among persons with disabilities in the country.
It's really about reaching the most vulnerable and leaving no one behind in the development process. And I think this approach is really particularly important in Nigeria, where we have high levels of poverty, high levels of violence, conflict that has really served to exacerbate the marginalization and vulnerability of persons with disabilities. And this is all compounded by, as our last speaker mentioned, sort of the challenges around having a large population. We're talking about 200 million people. 100 million of those are living in extreme poverty. It's the largest absolute number of extreme poor in the world. Now, while I mentioned the importance of reaching the most vulnerable, I think the how question is particularly important and quite relevant to the topic of the employment nexus, because it's not just about reaching, which at a minimum is about including people in advocacy and programming. It's more about supporting the empowerment and independence of individuals who, as we know, are far too underrepresented in workforces worldwide, and particularly in places like Nigeria, where the challenges are so much bigger. And I'd like to raise a few points on this. I think first is the importance of improving access to education. And apologies for I'm sort of repeating some of the things that have been said already, but I think this is worth repeating. And it's not just about supporting post-secondary or post-secondary education, but particularly improving access to education for technical and vocational skills that can help people with disabilities fill important gaps in the labor force. In the developing world, I think these schools are too few and far between. Yet they can play a real key role in increasing employment opportunities, especially if they're developed in partnership with private sector actors, as this can create sort of more direct opportunities for students to bridge into the workforce. And on this point, I think I would like to add also that it's about more than access to education. It's about access to education that meets the needs of persons with disabilities. So, this involves ensuring that educational institutions are properly equipped, and that teachers also have the training needed to help students succeed.
We need to work together collectively to bring about change. People with disabilities standing equally alongside people without disabilities, together working towards a more inclusive, open and empathetic society where we draw on the great skills and value that each and every individual can bring to the table. And as the other speakers have mentioned, COVID-19 has impacted on people with disabilities disproportionately. And tragically, even though there is not enough data on this, in many countries, people have lost their lives, they've lost their livelihoods, they've lost their access to education, and to their rights to lead a life of their own choosing. We cannot let the pandemic derail our progress. There are opportunities to build positives from this, however. Even if you look very hard to find them, you can see some positives. So, for example, building disability inclusion into equitable access for vaccines globally, looking at hybrid and flexible working models, which may be beneficial to some people with disabilities, but we still have to work on removing barriers that still exist for so many.
Also speaking, the founder, Cedar Seed Foundation, Louis Aota, said persons with disabilities are morally equipped to take up any responsibility, thus advocating for more skillful engagement rather than capitalizing on certificates for proper inclusion.
Only on certificates before engaging or employing persons with disabilities. Persons with disabilities have potentials, they have the talent, they have the gift. They have everything it takes to become whoever they want to become, but they lack the opportunities and the support. An economy that is still struggling to implement inclusive national employment policy, both in the public and private sector prior COVID-19. The rate of marginalization and exclusion and underrepresentation of persons with disabilities have been exacerbated by the COVID-19, as most employers are not keen to hire persons with disabilities whom they view as extra burden.
Concerning problem that we have, the rather concerning problem that we have with the problems associated with disability integration in general. We have a plethora of legislation, international and local, around the world. Even though there might not be sufficient specific disability legislation, there is considerable legislative guidance, particularly since that we have the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Thereafter, the young leader of the Economic Forum, Kanika Duan, noted that the marginalization of persons with disabilities is a re-emerging future event that has practically left them in the dark. She stresses that there is a need to create an inclusive environment, as most of them were not born disabled.
To realize that disability is not about something that is born or categorized. You get it through aging, it crosses all sectors of the population, trauma, war. In Africa, a lot of disease has caused people to become disabled, not being born into it. So this categorization needs to be deleted from our memory. Mother suffers from macular degeneration, and she may be blind in the coming years. She says that day by day, that she can see less and less. I don't think we realize that most of the world's disabled population wasn't born disabled or differently abled. And so if that is the case, and we've had the past pave the way with people like Frida Kahlo, and the future is not where we want to be, then what is the problem? Why does this gap exist? Well, in my opinion, we have built a weak foundation, and the foundation is based on the 4 weakest pillars, which I believe are as follows. We have educated ourselves into categorization. One of our weakest pillars is categorization. The more we enable education to categorize, the more we disable through this categorization.
The International Day of Disabled Persons is celebrated every 3rd of December. Hence, the theme for this year's celebration is Leadership and Participation of Persons with Disabilities Toward an Inclusive, Accessible and Sustainable Post-COVID-19 World. Vincent Okushi, QTV News, Abuja.